there. Hello, Donna. You were very early. I'm here. Let me just share the screen. Okay. Let me just come back in here. So I hope everyone is all very well whenever you obviously catch up with this live. So I just thought I'd come on. I've spoken quite a lot about the Liam Payne case over on my TikTok page. Hi, Sharon. And I've uploaded the videos that I've done, but not actually kind of covered it like on live. So I kind of thought I'm going to come over because I have a lot of opinions on this, and I know lots of different people have lots of different opinions. Some people have very different opinions. I am okay, thank you. It's okay. It's not too bad over here. It's not a big enough platform. But do you know what? Sometimes it's actually quite nice that it's not a massive, huge set of numbers because you get all the trolls come in, don't you? But that day will come, I'm pretty sure, but it's not here right now. So for a lot of the time, we just talk to a few people. It's quite nice because it's quite interactive as well. So I quite like that. So you have to bear with me a minute while I come off my screen. So I can't see the chat at the moment. But I want to start kind of at the beginning. Now, I was on a live when someone said, check your messages. Sorry, go search up Liam Payne. I'm like, what? So I get my phone. I'm on live talking about a completely different topic. And we learn that Liam Payne has tragically died. And it was a very, very bizarre situation because people didn't know what to make of it. People were beside them, so like really beyond being able to take this information in. And it is shocking because you just don't expect that to happen. He's a young man, and out of nowhere, it seems, we get this information that he has died. So a day or so after, obviously people are talking about it because then at this people want to know kind of what's gone on, like how has this happened. It's all we're told, is that there's been a fall from a balcony and he's died, and then bits start coming out, and since then more bits have come out and other things have been leaked. And so I just kind of wanted to kind of start back, at the beginning and then work our way through. Now, I've kind of had a viewpoint on this from very early on, and some people won't even consider the same viewpoint. They are very much that this happened somewhere else. It didn't happen there. He was unalived by someone else's hands as such, and everyone's coming at this from a different viewpoint. And I always try and stick to what is the best information that we can source. And there's been a lot of drama within this in terms of stuff that's been released that should never have been released. And we'll go into that in a minute. So we're just going to go through, in the early days, what we were told. Now, this is from the BBC. Some people like the BBC, some people don't. But if I'm going to look at some information and I have to pick one at this point in the stages we're looking at, I'm going to choose the BBC over the Daily Mirror, the Star, and the Sun. That's just, that's my preference. That's what I would consider that, Sky News or whatever, but not these other ones because they tend to dramatise stuff quite a bit. So on the 18th of October, this was originally printed. You can see that it was updated on the 8th. So let's skip that bit for a minute and go to here's what we know so far. So this was printed on the 18th. So why was he actually in Argentina? Now, I know that there's some people that think that this is all one big setup. And I see the book cover that people are talking about, but I'm not there. That's just me. But some people think this was like some big setup. It's and at some point, if that happened to be the case, it's always going to come out, isn't it? It's the way that it is. let me just check. I cannot hear myself in the... Sorry guys, I thought I'd... That's better. Now I can hear myself talking in the headset. So, why was he there? So we know, and we've been told that he was there visiting his former bandmate Neil Horan, and he was in that country on tour. He posted in early October that he was visiting for a catch up to say hello. It had been a while. There was no bad vibes. They just wanted to talk, needed to talk. And then he attended that show. He was posting social media videos of himself and his girlfriend. They were having a good time. And he was documenting a lot of what he was doing on Snapchat. We all do that, don't we? If we're on holiday, we're uploading stuff on our private social medias. And if you're famous, which we're not, you know, we have our own private social media, and then there's like the public-y stuff. But, you know, we all do it. Pictures of our food, what we're up to, you know, taking the mickey out of the other one, getting in a freezing cold swimming pool, all those kind of things that we do. And then he had apparently visited a friend's house in Argentina before he died. And he also done this allegedly with his girlfriend. And we know, for whatever reason, and we've been told different things have been leaked out into the media as to why things were happening. So we know that Kate left the country, and the first thing we were told was that she left because she didn't like being in one place too long. Now, I've said this, you know, if I'm on holiday with someone, I'm not on holiday with them and we see it through to the end or we leave together. But I don't leave the person on holiday while I bugger off and go home. And also, obviously, I guess when money is no object, if you're bored and you don't want to stay there anymore, you can just go and it would be no issue. But for some, you know, for people that have worked hard for their travels, you know, they're not going to finish and go home 3 days early. They're going to see their holiday through because they do want to be there and see it out right through to the end. I know we all get a bit like, oh, I'm ready to go home and get in my own bed. You know, there's no place like home in the end. But we still see it through and we still enjoy every minute of it. But I guess when it's not an object for you, you can just be like, well, I'm going to move on and go somewhere else. I'm not hanging around or whatever. But allegedly, that's what we were informed in the early stages of when Liam Payne died, that Kate had gone home for those reasons. Now, Liam Payne, we are told, had been staying in the Casa Sur hotel for 3 days before he died. You can see there in that image where that is on the map there. And they've kind of highlighted the hotel just there, as you can see it on that picture. Let me just check the chat very quickly. Hey, Karen. I'm glad everyone's in. Everyone's in. Let me go back to Wells. So, on the 16th of October, local time, the emergency services call 911, which here it's about 9 p.m. And I think it was about maybe 11 o'clock when people started saying, go search, go Google. And I was like, what? And going back to the situation, we're told at this time that a call has been made and they want emergency services to attend to a hotel guest. They say that has been drinking and is on rugs. Now, we got to hear that 911 call, and if I can find it on here, I will play that 911 call for you. Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, guys, that's so super loud. Wait, you just bear with me 1 minute. Because we want the actual 911 call, don't we? Really, realistically, it's quite a long call as well, I have to say. Well, I thought it was quite a long call. I might have to go to my TikTok. I don't really want to. Oh, actually, is this? Let's just switch the pages, loves. Let's switch the pages. There I am, back again. Okay.
Costa Rica 6032.
What is happening, sir?
We have a 6032. Good morning. I'm calling from Hotel Casa Sur Palermo, Costa Rica 6032.
What is happening, sir?
We have a guest drunk on drugs and alcohol. When he's conscious, he's breaking everything in the room.
You said alcohol and drugs.
That's correct.
You said Costa Rica intersecting where?
Costa Rica 6032.
Repeat.
Costa Rica 6032.
How is the hotel called?
Casa Azul Palermo. We need to send someone with urgency because I don't know if the guest's life is in danger because he's in a room with a balcony and we were afraid he could do something that threatens his life.
How long has he been there? Is it a long stay hotel?
The guest has been there for the past 3 days.
You don't any other information because you can't get in, right?
No.
We are also notifying Medical Emergency Attention Service.
We are asking you to send someone with urgency because
we are doing that. Any other data to give me? Who are you?
I'm the desk manager.
Person in charge of the place?
Yes.
It has been notified. What is your name, sir?
Esteban.
Thanks for calling. Be online.
Are you sending police too?
Police from the delegation. Let me confirm.
No. Only Medical Emergency Attention Service.
Don't worry, because they have already been notified.
Because, as you said, he's under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Medical Emergency Attention Service personnel can't enter alone.
You can ask that to the police, but if Medical Emergency Attention Service needs them, they will notify you.
Good. Okay, perfect.
Have a good day.
Thanks. You too.
That was a bit confusing at the end there. Let me just rerun that, because they said about not calling the police and then them not being able to enter on their own. Let's go through it once more.
Morning. I'm calling from Hotel Casa Sur Palermo, Costa Rica 6032.
What is happening, sir?
We have a guest drunk on drugs and alcohol. When he's conscious, he's breaking everything in the room.
You said alcohol and drugs.
That's correct.
You said Costa Rica intersecting where?
Costa Rica 6032.
Repeat.
Costa Rica 6032.
How is the hotel called?
Casa Azul Palermo. We need to send someone with urgency because I don't know if the guest's life is in danger because he's in a room with a balcony and we were afraid he could do something that threatens his life.
How long has he been there? Is it a long stay hotel?
The guest has been there for the past 3 days.
You don't any other information because you can't get in, right?
No.
We are also notifying Medical Emergency Attention Service.
We are asking you to send someone with urgency because
we are doing that. Any other data to give me? Who are you?
I'm the desk manager.
Person in charge of the place?
Yes.
It has been notified. What is your name, sir?
Esteban.
Thanks for calling. Be online.
Are you sending police too?
Police from the delegation, let me confirm.
No, only medical emergency attention service.
Don't worry, because they have already been notified.
Because, as you said, he's under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Medical emergency attention service personnel can't enter alone.
I'm confused. Someone help me. So he asks if they're notifying the police. She says that she's gonna double check with whoever, and then he says no, just medical emergency, and then he goes on to say because medical emergency can't enter on their own. As you say, the guest is on drugs and alcohol. And I didn't hear that before when I've listened to the call. I just heard no to the don't get the police, to which my initial response to that would be one of the reasons. So initially in the early days, I thought, right, they're talking about this bloody balcony in this call. First of all, there is going to be issues in translation and things do get missed in translation. And then you've got the issue with, well, they probably know from, things that happen abroad when people have been drinking and stuff, that balcony accidents happen. And if he's got access to a balcony and he is in this condition, that they're just thinking ahead. That's what my initial thoughts were. Obviously, that's changed now because we are where we are in this case. But that's what I initially thought. And people were saying it was odd that they mentioned the balcony. And I'm kind of thinking, well, there is the translation issue as well. Then you've got this thing about not having the police there. Now, part of me thinks or thought, and probably still does think, if I'm honest, that with this situation that we find ourselves in, they probably don't want the police there. One, maybe at the time, not so much now, but at the time this was unfolding, I perhaps maybe they don't want them there because he's famous, and they want to protect him in some way, like just give him a bit of privacy, because if you call the police, all those different things, that might be why they've said no. And then another part of me is like, but then are they trying to cover something? But at the time, I was kind of thinking, well, it's probably more, they don't want all the big fuss, he's famous, etc., etc. Got to, at this point, it's really early days in the case, isn't it? But now I've just heard that, and that does not make sense to say about them not being able to enter the rooms on their own. So do you want them to come with the police, or don't you want them to come to the police with the police? Because I'm a bit confused now. Because he was like, no, and then let's just come back a minute. Like, I just really need to just listen to that audio, that part of the audio again, because it's weird. But again, you've got the translation issues, and I feel like there's something missing. And that's probably why it kind of, I'm like, what?
Medical emergency attention service personnel can't enter alone.
I can ask that to the police, but if medical emergency attention service needs them, they will notify you.
Good. Okay, perfect.
So it's kind of like they've said, well, if they're needed, they'll let you know when they get there. So I'm kind of like not sure who wants them there and who doesn't. I kind of feel like she didn't even want them there. So do they know this woman on the phone at the end of the 911 call? Because if you notice, there's bits missing. And at first I thought it might be where they've redacted names and stuff, but I don't think it is, personally. I think they've took some bits out of the call, and I do wonder if they know who they're talking about. And in between that bit of the conversation, maybe, and I'm just speculating and having an opinion, that maybe that between that bit of the conversation, they've had a conversation like, shouldn't we? He's someone high profile, and that bit's been removed. Because let's face it, we don't know if we've been given the whole call. We just have to trust what we're being told. But that's the first time I've heard that, and I've gone, that doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Yeah, something doesn't add up in that call. And as much as there is a lot of translational issues and things get lost in translation, I still feel that there's something's missing in that call, and we've just not been given it. It is what it is, isn't it? But that's what we were given. And at the time, the question was, well, why are they mentioning the balcony and why don't they want the police? So we've heard that call, and they say they don't know if this guest's life's in danger, but he's in a room with a balcony. But little do we know at this point that it actually turns out that they knew that he was going to scale the balcony. We now know that, but back then we didn't. And so it's been made at this point to kind of look like this is some massive big accident, and the Casa did everything that they could to prevent it. They called the police, and not the police, but they at least tried to get in medical emergencies, and they pointed out that there's a balcony and he's, they wanted to stop any disaster happening. And I think in that early stage, I was kind of feeling, well, perhaps maybe if he was out of control, they did everything that they could to try and prevent this from happening by calling the emergency services. Now, some people believe that this call took place after he fell from the balcony, and some people do not. And everybody sits somewhere different with that. But they're saying that they're a little afraid that he might do something life-threatening. Well, no shit, Sherlock. If he's already told you that if you lock me in here, I'm getting out down my balcony, then you know. And you didn't say that in that call. What you've said is, oh, you've just got some concerns, just some concerns, just a few. Just a few. Now, they highlight that he was destroying his room. Now, we now have an update on more of an order of when this happened according to the alleged official documents. But at the time, we're told that he's kicking off. So in my head, I've got, right, so he was kicking off in his room. They've called the emergency services because he's kicking off in his room, and they're concerned that he's going to go off. That makes, like, that sequence of events sounds plausible, doesn't it? While they're on the phone, he is kicking the shit out of his room. They don't mention that they manhandled him at this point either, but he's up there kicking the shit out of his room, and they forget to mention that he'd already done some of that earlier. But this is what we were given in the beginning, and so it just looks like it looks as bad as it is on Liam. And I think that's the narrative that they tried to push. They tried to make Liam look like the bad one, and that they did everything in their possible minds that they say that they could to stop this from happening. Now, on that same night, those photographs of multiple bottle caps, cans, candles, aluminium foil, and the champagne, smashed up TV, that was all leaked that same night, because I had somebody come into my live, and they were telling us that somebody was showing these photos, and I said, well, we can't prove that they're from the room. We've literally just found out that he has died, and we shouldn't be showing them until we can concrete and prove that they are from that room. And I just that left me with a bad taste in my mouth with that, because I just think at this point the guy's just died. No investigation has even really started, and we don't know anything. Why are we showing these photos? But that is what happens. They get out there. They are leaked, and they are leaked, and they're all over the internet. Now, we know that the room was on the 3rd floor. There was an interior courtyard below. Now, after the call, despite not wanting the police, the police arrived. and hotel staff had told them that a loud sound had been heard in the courtyard where Liam Payne's body was discovered. So they just heard a loud sound then, and they didn't check it, and they sent police out there. That's how that reads to me. But that's what's happened at the time. There was a loud sound, and police went and found him. And at this point, we were told that his injuries when he fell were not compatible with life. There was no possibility of resuscitating him, and it was pretty much instant. And interestingly, the autopsy was done very quickly. Now, we all know, because we cover true crime and that toxicology isn't an instant thing. It takes time for toxicology to come back. However, very, very quickly, we're learning that the autopsy was carried out that same evening. Liam Payne had suffered multiple traumas. He had suffered internal and external hemorrhaging. He had 25 injuries consistent with a fall from a great height, which, we hear later on more about this fall from a great height. But if he is conscious, you can absolutely understand why he would have all of those injuries consistent with a great fall. We know that when you fall unconscious, you're not tensing your body up. Whereas when you are aware that you're falling, you do tense your body up and you are more likely to break in many more places. But that being said, people can fall and break one bone. Somebody else might fall, break no bone. Somebody else might break a million bones in their body. It all just depends. But at this point, what we've heard is that the injuries are as a result of the internal and external hemorrhaging. He's got 25 injuries and they are consistent with that fall. So kind of putting to bed that he was thrown over the balcony, deceased already, and that kind of thing. And it just shows that it is consistent with that fall. On the 7th of November, the prosecutor's office said that toxicology tests revealed traces of alcohol and the white powdered stuff and prescription antidepressants. And that's not that long ago. They also said they ruled out self-harm or physical intervention by a third party. Wait a minute. God, that's been a long time since I've looked at this. There was no physical intervention by a third party. But there was, though, wasn't there? There was absolutely intervention by at least 3 other people when they tried to carry him. I say carry, manhandle him through the lobby back to his room. I don't know if he landed straight on his head. I don't think he did. For the pictures that I saw, he was on his back. There was a pooling of blood. He obviously will have smashed the back of his head, and that was from the back of the head. So that's not accurate. It's always good to go back, it seems, and look at some of this stuff. They said that he didn't adopt a posture to protect himself from a fall. So along with that information, that led them to conclude that he was unconscious or semi-unconscious when he fell. How do you know he didn't adopt the posture to protect himself from the fall, though, if he ended up with multiple injuries? Because I would have said if he was unconscious, he wouldn't have broke as much. And obviously, some of these injuries that he's got on his arms and bruises, if he had them, will have been probably from that manhandling. Because he was manhandled. And obviously, you don't bruise once you have died. You bruise prior to your death. Now, I know with lividity and stuff, it can look like bruising, but the coroner will be able to tell the difference between lividity and decomposition and bruising and all that kind of thing. So they know. So I don't know whether he fell unconscious or not. I don't think he was unconscious when he fell. Now, he might have gone a bit lightheaded because, as you guys know, if you don't know already and you're not following my TikToks, shame on you. No, just kidding. But if you're not following my TikToks, I believe he was climbing the balcony when he fell. And I'm not putting it past him that he could have passed out as he was doing so. But I don't think he was unconscious. And as we're led to believe in these very early days, that he went whoopsie daisy and just sort of fell about a little bit and then just fell on over the balcony, which is what the narrative was. You know, he just passed out and fell in the very early days. They ruled out a conscious or voluntary act, saying that he didn't know what he was doing or he didn't understand it. Well, I have to say, what we know now is, well, that's bullshit, isn't it? Because he knew what he was doing, because he told the hotel he knew what he was doing. So was this coroner, was this person carrying out this autopsy completely oblivious to everything what's going on? Yeah, you're in the cult. Drink the Kool-Aid. Drink the Kool-Aid. We do serve Kool-Aid here, and we serve Kool-Aid on the backup account on TikTok. But that makes no sense to me. Because they're saying he didn't know what he was doing or didn't understand it. He fucking did understand it, because he said, excuse my French, but this makes me angry. But he did understand it, because we now know he told them if he got locked in his room, he was leaving, telling me that he's fully compos mentis in the decision making that he made. He might not have perhaps been physically as able as he maybe thought he was, but he was physically knowing what he was doing when he made the decision to leave the room via the balcony, which is what we now know, which we didn't know. So I kind of feel like when I'm looking at this, this this coroner is almost telling us the story that the hotel wanted us to know, because we're being told one narrative here, and it would match up with the hotel. He's off his head. He's doing this, he's doing that. But he passed out and he went whoopsie daisy over the balcony, which we know is not bloody right. And it's not true. Like, it's not true. There is no way. I'm not ever going to believe that. I've seen the pictures, I've seen a video. There is no way he just fell off the balcony because he didn't know what he was doing and he was off his face and he went unconscious. So this is my issue with coroners. They don't know what someone. So this meets the story of the hotel right at the minute, and it leads me to think that there might be to some links here possibly. But let's just say, from what he's been told by the hotel, and he says he's above board and legit, he's put his findings in there. He doesn't know if Liam Payne, because if the hotel didn't say, by the way, he was trying to scale down the balcony because we locked him in his room, they're not going to know that. So maybe they're thinking, well, he didn't know what he was doing. But the coroner can't think for someone like that. Like with Gaynor Lord, when they said she went in the river and she planned to definitely come out. They don't know that. They absolutely don't know that, because in what reality would someone whip off all their clothes when they've done research on cold water swimming, having done yoga in the freezing cold, perhaps enter the water in a place she's never been before, and her husband says the only reason she would have gone there is perhaps so we didn't know where to find her? Are we saying then that she went there to take her to not take her own life, go for a bit of a swim, and then go home again. I disagree. The coroner can't say that because she can't enter Gainer's head. So there's that. There's that element of it. Now, at this point, on the 18th of October, because this is the oh no, is this on the 18th of October? I think this is on the 18th of October, but on the 7th we get the new updated tox results, right? But they're saying that the prosecutors have examined more than 800 hours of video. Now, which prosecutors is this? Is this the local prosecutors or the national prosecutors that don't actually have any jurisdiction, apparently, when it comes to decision making and charges? But either way, 800 hours of video footage from the security camera at the hotel, public roads, everything else, examined calls, messages, social media, etc., have been examined on Payne's phone. They also received dozens of testimonies from hotel staff, family members, friends, medical professionals. So this is, they would have spoken to Liam's friends and family. They would have spoken to his girlfriend. They would have spoken to the hotel staff. Now, I can tell you now that those three people that were carrying Liam Payne in the manner in which they were carrying him, in line with whoever, will have got in a room and they would have said, right, we need to talk, and this is the story, and we're not changing the story because this is the story, and do not change it. Whatever happens, whatever is said, do not change the narrative. If we all stick to the same story, nothing else can go wrong here. And I believe that. I believe that at this point the hotel knew, first of all, didn't want Liam Payne's death on their books, but it's on there. Can't change that. But what they certainly didn't want was Liam Payne's death to be a result of something that they may or may not have done, because that never looks good. It's bad enough that somebody has died at their hotel. It's made worse by the fact that Liam Payne is Liam Payne, and then, we're learning further down the line that perhaps this is the reason why they didn't want the information out, because now we can put things together and be thinking, well, makes sense to me now. It is making sense that this is where we are and this is what's happened. This is why it's happened. And again, some people are saying that in the pictures that we've seen of Liam Payne being manhandled, and he was manhandled, I don't care, he was manhandled in that lobby. That does not look good for the hotel, number one. But people are saying he was already gone. Looking at those pictures, he isn't gone. He's supporting his head. His head is not floppy back. If he had have gone, his head would be flopped back. It is not. You can see it's in line with his body. And we can see that he was very much conscious in between. Yeah, I mean, the Gainer Lord story, that's sad, isn't it? Like, really sad. Followed that one. Not the outcome everyone wanted, and it's like, God, it's almost, is it a year? Yeah, I think, yeah, it's not adding up, and there'll be elements that I'm saying that probably aren't quite correct, or my opinion of what I think happened, and there's going to be elements where other people aren't, and somewhere in between things will piece together. When people keep referring me to Brian Harvey, but I can't get in with Brian Harvey, he makes himself come across like he is he's driving himself insane, like with whatever it is he's trying to prove. And some of the things he says is a bit much and a bit far-fetched for me, but that doesn't mean that some of the things that he is saying doesn't have some value. But some of the stuff that's coming out, I'm a bit like, So it is, you know, everybody will find something in someone that they're watching and that they're listening to. And that, you know, that's the way that it's going to roll. But at the moment, for me, I'm just trying to establish through the best information that I can of what we're learning and what we're finding. Now, obviously, like I said, the hotel are going to come together. They're going to get their story straight and make sure that they all have the same story. And they may have even done that before the police got there. There would have been a quick conversation going on. So then we learn that one person gets charged with abandonment of a person followed by death, which has a sentence of 15 years, and the supply and facilitation of rugs. A hotel employee and a third person have been charged with supplying rugs, or this was at the time, and none of those arrests have been named. And then we know that those people come in. Yeah, he needs to stick with his singing, doesn't he? Bless him. And so from there, we know that those charges come out, and then things start to appear online, don't they? So we get information that TMZ have leaked images of Liam Payne's body over the internet. Let's just pull his face up while I'm talking. Why does it do that? I don't want it to do that. I want it to be bigger. It's going to take me off the page. It's not what I wanted. Not what I planned. Can you see what I'm seeing? Nope, you can't. Oh, right, that's not going to work out for me, is it? I don't know why it does that. It puts it in there and it doesn't open it up in big. And I wanted it to be all in the big. So, we know that TMZ release photographs of Liam's arm and area. And then they withdraw it very quickly. Which you think, right, okay, so you done fucked up and you've made not amends as such, but you've kind of took it down because you knew and you accepted that it was wrong. So you think. But then the next day they come out and they say that they are not sorry and they did it with intention. Ian Payne. They did it with the intention of trying to identify him. And I said then it wasn't TMZ's place to identify him. They said there was no official identification, and so they were showing his tattoos as a way to do that. And it's like, so first of all, my question is, who leaked the bloody photos of his body? And whoever that was.
It's a painful pilgrimage. Liam Payne's father.
So, on a certain angle on this balcony, this balcony doesn't look as high to me. So obviously Liam's dad's come out and he's like, what the fuck? And he wants to know what's gone on. Wait a minute. When did his dad go to the hotel? I want to know what date his dad went to the hotel. But for now, this is his dad and Paul. And they're on the balcony assessing the situation. Now, if either one of them fainted, their legs are going to go, and they're going to go down like a ton of bricks. But the balcony there doesn't look that high at that point. But just watch the balcony when they maneuver a little bit.
Father gazes down from the hotel balcony.
Oh, look how when he's slightly leant, how high. So you got the railing, and then there's more of the balcony. Like, look how high that is when he slightly bends. So there is no way. If he now went down, he'd go down and he'd fall the other way, not over the balcony.
Where the One Direction star plummeted to his death. He stood there for a few poignant moments before going back in the suite where the 31.
Let me just go back, because there was something he did the other day when he was speaking to Liam's dad, and I'm pretty sure he was shaking his head like, no way.
He stood there for a few poignant moments before going back in the suite where the 31-year-old singer spent his final hours. There was total chaos when Payne's father, 66-year-old Jeff Payne, arrived at the hotel. Cops and security guards plowed a path through crowds of fans and photographers. There was even a physical altercation between a security guard and a photographer. Then fans formed a human curtain blocking paparazzi from photographing Payne in the lobby. Payne had just come from the morgue where he formally identified his son's body in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Despite the chaos, Jeff Payne emerged to look at the memorial placed outside the hotel by fans. He paused to read the tributes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Liam Payne's grieving girlfriend, Katie Cassidy, was seen in public in
I don't know if it was the day after. I need to know now. And I need to know, because they reckon, or something that I've heard today, said that the bag that he swung was there for 2 days before it was noticed. When doesn't say what. Okay, let me change that search. What day? So he arrived in Argentina on the Friday. So what day was the 16th? So that was a Wednesday. He arrived on the Friday. So Thursday, Friday. So essentially, the bag that we've been told was on the balcony on the second floor where he, swang it and thingied it, that we all heard about recently, is not in that. It's not in that picture. And you think it would be, wouldn't you? because they said it was there for a couple of days before they noticed it. So there's that element of that. Okay, let's come back. So then obviously we're getting all of this information. Videos, the photos were put on by TMZ, they're removed. They like, yeah, sorry. And then the next day they're like, nah, we did it on purpose with intention. Bunch of morons that they are, because they wanted to, you know, just, I don't know, prove it. I don't know what they wanted to do, but they don't have the authority to identify Liam Payne's body, right? It's not their job. But that's what they said that they did, and it's not in their job. And then so far, you know, TMZ have been quite leaky with their stuff. Now the photos of his body were released, and they did make it on X. People did try to report them, and X were like, nothing to see here. There is absolutely nothing to see here. You're fine. There is no breaking the community guidelines. You carry on posting photos of somebody's body. But then when that man was sadly unalive, when he was beheaded, no one took those photos down either of the man's head, which is just terrible. Not good. So we're getting bits of information, and then lo and behold, we hear from Brian. Can't spell his name. He comes out and speaks to, oh look, there's Brian Harvey. He comes out and can't spell his bloody name. I'm pretty sure it's BRAI. And gives out, so we know Rogelio, he comes out and speaks a little bit and says that Liam was fine when he left him. And then we hear from Brian, not Brian Harvey. God, as soon as you put Brian in, Brian Harvey comes up everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's Brian. B-R-A-I. I want the interview, the actual interview that he gave. Brian. Payes. Who is the Dreezy? Okay, let's see what Dreezy has to say.
Guys, Payes is lying about fucking Liam Payne. Watch what I've got for you. He's lying out his front mole. Watch this. First debunking is the Instagram post. Try to fall 3, 2, 1. Come on. Second part is this post here. Maybe we can do a line together. Wink. Why didn't you answer iMessage? No, not that. Ha 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 ha. Never mind. First of all, what I think is when they was in the restaurant a few days before, I believe maybe they was chatting, having a laugh, but someone who was jealous of Liam and wanted him gone was on that same table or nearby. They've seen the interaction and they know the guy has spoken to Liam and they know each other. What I believe the person has done has made this fake account or know this fake account, messaged this Brian guy. Basically, Brian's thought, oh, he must be one of them guys known to just fall for the trap. Maybe because these scammers in the area.
Hey, Queenie.
These people work and how to rob these people is by messaging on Instagram, Facebook.
I did not see you sneak in.
Someone. This guy maybe looks gullible. This Brian, maybe he is gullible. Maybe he did think it was Liam on a private account. Obviously, he's took a picture of him in the past. If that's real, I don't know. But if he's took a picture, maybe he thought Liam did fancy him because he's had a picture of him and they've spoke. So someone who's around Liam all the time, I'm not saying no names, knows this, sees him as a target. Let's set him up. What they've done is got this Brian to come to the hotel, meet in the lobby on this fake account. Maybe it was Roger. And he says, oh, that guy's here. Fucking go up and meet him, blah, blah, blah. Maybe they both was in Liam's room, but they was both unaware what was happening. Hence why when he says he put the tissue in. But then obviously when he got threatened, he's thinking, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. I won't say anything, but trust me, I'm Argentina, blah, blah, blah. Maybe this.
Yeah, it's a bit much. That's a bit much there, Dreezy. Should have known. Should have known. Is this the interview?
So Liam Payne's alleged dealer, Brian Bass, is a desperate. The thing I cannot get over is his caption. Okay.
I can't find the actual interview, which is a pain in the arse, isn't it? Dreezy. I just don't know. Trouble is, the thing is like there's a lot of TikTok stuff that comes out and it actually takes over actual news. I want the actual news interview. Is this it?
La realidad es que no le suministré drogas. Con Lía nos conocimos, él me contactó en lo que es mi trabajo. Ahí nos pasamos lo que es el contacto. Él me contactó en lo que es mi trabajo. Con Lía nos suministré drogas. Con Lía nos...
So it says here, the reality is I did not supply him, Liam, with rugs.
Nos conocimos, él me contactó en lo que es mi trabajo.
He says they exchanged contact details in the restaurant that he worked in.
Ahí nos pasamos lo que es el contacto, si nos vimos, sí, ahí nos juntamos.
They got together and he showed me some of his music that he was yet to release.
Él me mostró un poco de su música, de la música que iba a sacar adelante.
He went downstairs looking for me because I was lost.
Dicen que él estaba bajo, creo que no se estaba drogando o no sé, o es lo que se estaba diciendo. En uno de esos momentos él se me acerca.
Says he approached him, we swapped Instagrams, and then he started sending me messages. Now, this is where we hear that the Instagram that Liam was using was a faked Instagram.
Me pide mi contacto, yo le paso en Instagram, y ahí él me envía mensajes, y ahí fue la última.
And he says that is the last time that they spoke. Coming din 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 din. So sneaky. So sneaky.
No es que hablamos, yo me subía.
New revelations have emerged in the investigation into Liam Payne's tragic death as one of the suspects linked.
Now, you wouldn't believe the amount of people that were like, never would he have been intimate, because he makes claims that him and Liam were intimate together. Some people have said this photo with Liam behind him. I mean, something's not quite right with that eye of Liam's in that photo. I'm not gonna lie, but it's very pixelated. But then if you look at Brian as well. His eye on the same side. Oh, they look really quite freaky. Those eyes look weird. Is it me? Look at the eyes. They look weird. They look different shapes, number one. You've got this one up here. Looks like he's been punched. And then this one here, like it's just black, a black circle. Right, that's weird. Guys, that's weird. It looks... If you look... Where'd the rest of his tash go? The lip here. He loses his beard. Not his beard. Well, yeah, I suppose it is a semi-bit or goatee or whatever you want to call it. He doesn't have it across his face. The eyes don't match up. The eyebrows. One of the eyebrows on this eye, one of these eyebrows looks like a woman's professionally done eyebrow, and then on the other side looks like a typical bushy eyebrow. That's weird, isn't it? Again, never noticed that before until I really blew it up onto the big screen. It's even different colour skin tone. But if you look at Brian as well, same. His eye looks very different to the other eye. It could be the angle, I guess, but I mean... There's something seriously wrong with that photo. His lips are not even in the right place. Because you've got the lip here, and then this.
To the case.
Do you know what that reminds me of? When I look at the mouth and that eye, missing the beard, that schoolboy, that weirdo schoolboy, if you just took half the face off here and cut this off and you just saw this, schoolboy 9, is it? Wow. That's done my brain in for the day.
Has broken his silence for the first time. Brian Nahuel Pais, a 24-year-old Argentinian waiter, is one of 3 people under investigation over Payne's death. He has denied allegations of supplying drugs to the former One Direction star, but admitted in a televised interview to spending time with Liam during 2 hotel meetings in Buenos Aires. Brian says their first encounter happened at the restaurant where he worked in the upscale Puerto Madero district. Liam was dining with his girlfriend and friends when they exchanged contact information. Later, they met at Liam's hotel on October 2, when Brian says they took drugs together, but insists he never provided or sold any narcotics.
Are we believing this, though? Are we believing that they only took it together? What is the white thing on the guy's shoulder?
People under
This, I would say, would supposed to be this bit, part of his jacket here, But what the hell that is? Tissue. Well, that is a very good question. And I'm afraid I don't have the answer. It looks very weird to me. Me too! I just wasn't prepared to say it. Because I know that people will come for me. They've already come for me because I dared to say that anything's possible. Brian says that he was intimate with Liam Payne. And there's many people gone apeshit at that comment. But, you know, never say never. No, he was straight. He was as straight as they came. Nobody knows anyone. And if you're just a fan looking from the inside, from the outside in, you might think that that could be the case, but there is always a chance for things to be not as you would expect or like. So I'm not saying that it did or it didn't happen. Personally, I'm just saying that it's a possibility. Anything is possible. Nobody knew. Nobody knows that when them doors are shut, what he gets up to. Nobody seems to be as outraged, though, by the sex workers. Has he? Ah, see, didn't know that. But people are like, nope. Nope. Absolutely not. Not happening. Not on my shift. Not on my socials. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, a lot of the hardcore are like, absolutely bloody not. That would never happen. It would never happen. But, you know, I mean, people are almost more outraged, less outraged by that, more outraged by that, and less outraged by the rug taken. Oh, look, we're back.
Sold any narcotics. Argentinian TV shared a photo of himself with Liam, reportedly taken during their first hotel meeting. He also claimed that Liam shown him unreleased music when hanging out together. The second meeting, according to Brian, took place on October 13 at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel. He alleges that Liam offered them gifts, including clothing, and even suggested money, but Brian says that he refused to accept anything.
That's weird.
He left behind items like a pair of gray jogging pants and a t-shirt that Liam had tried to give him. Brian's home has been searched as part of the ongoing investigation, but he says that he hasn't been formally questioned yet. The waiter, who has since lost his job, described Liam as really sweet and claimed to have introduced him to a friend who was also a fan.
And the only reason that you've heard that on there is because it's the only one that I could find. And it was kind of semi-translated. Yeah, it must be exhausting. I'm not going to lie, it must be bloody well exhausting. You know, being in the limelight, being in the cameras, you know, it must have been hard for him. You know, it's a hard thing, isn't it? But this is where we've got up to. And I kind of feel like I should be able to get through this in like one sitting, but I just don't feel like I can because there's so much to this story, and I don't want to like just hop, skip, jump through everything, just for the sake of kind of getting through it. Now we know that Brian is saying one thing, and other people are calling him a liar, and at this point we're kind of thinking, well, At the moment, the police are just taking statements from these people. He's been slapped with an abandonment charge and supply. He's saying he didn't supply. Roger is saying, hey, guys, when I left Liam, everything was good. And even as recent, he's like, hey, guys, everything was great. I left him with like 15 people in the lobby. I mean, granted, when we see that image, there is not 15 people in the lobby. There's like 4 people, and they're all not 2 of them are with, like, there's one pair and then another pair. But there's not 15 people laughing and joking with him in that lobby. Now, if that actually existed, now the hotel might be withholding that, the police might be withholding that, and it will be interesting to see, won't it, with a timestamp of when Roger says that he left Liam laughing and joking in the lobby, if we get to see that CCTV photograph of him laughing and joking. I mean, the source supplying the leaking photos from various things, if they are at the hotel, they ain't going to want to show us that, are they? Because it shows that Rog, like I said, I knew a Roger. I used to call him Dodgy Rodgy. Dodge Rog, Dodge the Rog the Dodge, and Dodge Roger. But Rogelio, he says what he says, and the hotel aren't going to want to back that up. So we're going to have to watch this space for that. But he's adamant that everything was fine. And in Argentina, there is a law apparently regarding abandonment, and if it leads to someone's death, and then this is a whole other worm, isn't it, that you're looking to open here, because he was with his girlfriend, and she left him. And people might be like, well, AD, perhaps it was too much for her, or AD, it's up to her, isn't it, if she wants to go. It's not our business. AD, we don't really know what was going on. Great, we don't know what was going on. It might have been a lot for her. But my questions remain this. Well, first of all, still, if it was me, I still wouldn't have left. Wouldn't have left the country. If it was too much and too dangerous to be in the same room, I perhaps would have gone into a different room next door, below, or whatever. Right? But I wouldn't have left. In a foreign country that they're not from, wouldn't have left. But that's me. How many other people? Put in the chat, would you have left? Or would you have thought, yeah, fuck it, they can cope on their own, I'll see them when they get home? If you're seeing this afterwards, put in the comments, would you have left your significant other knowing that they were in a state and completely leave the country altogether? Me, no. I would have tried to have stayed in the room. And if I couldn't have stayed in the room, I'd have been in the same hotel. And if there wasn't another room, I'd have been in the room in the hotel next door. But I would have been in the country. My next question would be, well, before you left and buggered off back home to where, wherever it is you needed to be, because you just couldn't bear being, on holiday. I mean, it's a hard life when you've got to be on holiday for the duration of your time. But my question is, who did you contact? Did you contact someone to say, hey, Liam is completely out of control. I need to leave the country because I can't even stay nearby. I have to get out. Were people back at home aware? Did anyone put anything in place to say, right, well, stay nearby because she'd contacted someone? Stay nearby, we'll send the bodyguard, or stay nearby, Dad's coming, whatever. Or did we just not notify anyone and piss off? Because, again, that to me becomes part of well, you're the next of kin, you are the travel partner, you are with them. And if you knew that they were going down the path that you've claimed and you've had to leave, why haven't you? And I know this sounds harsh, but we've got to be, right? Because if it was anyone else, we would be. I mean, look at the flack that Debbie Slater's getting, right? She's lost her son. And the flack from the arseholes on social media that she's getting every day still is unreal. So because she's his girlfriend, does that mean that she gets a pass because she fucked off out of the country? Or are we going to ask these questions and say, hey, did you call someone? Did you put something in place, or did you just go? Because to me, it looks like you just went. You gave him the ultimatum, Ruggs or me. He chose. You fucked off. But who did you let know? And I think that is a fair question to ask. And I don't think because she's Liam Payne's girlfriend and famous and everything else that she should get a pass on that. That they should be the hard questions. But I don't think that they will give them the hard questions. And I don't think that they'll put any accusations in that direction either. So, but it's a question that I would have wanted answered as his dad. Like, who did you tell? Did you tell me? Did she tell anyone? And was anything put into place to make sure that while he was going off the rail, someone was at least on their way when she'd buggered off? Or did she just bugger off? That's all I want to know. And if you did bugger off, well, shame on you. Shame on you. And I'll say it as I see it at this point. Obviously, if she put everything into place as best she could, might have said, Rog, watch out for him. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. But we're going to leave it here with Kate buggering off and all the drama around Brian and Dodgy Roger. And we'll pick it back up. Hopefully, what's tomorrow? Friday. Tomorrow, we will continue the journey that is this case. From there, and then we should hopefully then get into the other side of it, which is more the information that we have been given now and the CCTV footage. And we're going to look at the CCTV footage on the big screen on here, because people have questions about that. People don't believe that this is possible. I still don't know about that CCTV footage, I'll be honest, but we'll see tomorrow. But this is all leading up to the debate of who is responsible. Who is responsible? Is anyone responsible? Because I've also heard, well, Liam Payne was an adult. He made adult choices. He did what he did. And this is how it's ended up. So is there anyone? Can we put the blame to anyone? See you guys soon. So we will come back and we'll look at all of that. Be interested in people's thoughts. Make sure you hit that like button, and if you leave a comment, that'd be amazing. And make sure if you haven't subscribed, I know you guys have subbed, but make sure that if you have not yet subscribed on the channel, do that. That helps me massively. And we'll always be doing different cases, and things will be getting more and more improved on here the more skilled I get on this platform. This is not my main platform, but I'm getting there. But if you could like, comment at least, that'd be great. And also just make sure that, you know, if you like us, come back, because you know, we're a cult now. Drink the Kool-Aid, stay with me, can't leave. Once you hit that like, subscribe button, that's it, you're here for good. But yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, mods. Obviously, mods, if you're in here and you see comments afterwards, after the fact, and they're being, you know, they're ridiculous, I think you can remove them. If you see them, you have those powers when I'm not around on here. If you see anything, you know, derogatory anywhere, just remove it. But I'll be back tomorrow, guys. And for the rest of you who are my TikTokers, I'll be back on TikTok and we'll continue with our case of the beautiful Lake and Riley. Love to all, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.